Hi guys, welcome to the SAAS-X podcast. And in this episode, we have two very good guests on our episode, right? Mr. Saksham and Mr. Darsh, right? So rather than me introducing both of these guys, what they do and how they do it, right? Right, and what kind of success they have had, I will let them introduce themselves in their own words, right? What do they do? Okay, so starting with Saksham bhai, please introduce
Yeah,
yourself to our audience.
sure. Thank you so much. Yeah. So my name is Saksham, as Gagan introduced, and I'm the co-founder at Magically Genius. So basically, at Magically Genius, we build multiple SaaS tools which help sales, outbound teams, and lead generation agencies to improvise their backend systems using the industry of cold email, right? So anyone who's in the cold email lead gen agency industry, we are like, a backend for those teams. So we build multiple tools, right? Darsh would like to give more
Yeah,
about the tools.
yeah.
He'll cover up in that part.
My name is Darsh Parsana, and I'm the CTO of Magically Genius. So I'm the main who tech head who manages all the products and the backends of every single SaaS which we have. That includes Verify Magically, Inbox Automate, and a lot of few other products out there. So yeah, mainly it's related to automating the sales and cold email part. And yeah, we are diversifying in future. So let's see.
Awesome, right? Awesome. Can you just brief a little bit more about each of these tools that you've been building and working upon currently?
Sure. So Verify Magically helps validate catch-all emails and normal emails in one go, and that too in real time. So a lot of tools out there which are basic validation tools out there, right? Which validates normal type of emails, and catch-all are those type of emails which are unverifiable. And we validate those type of emails and give you 30% more lead list, uh, bigger lead list than compared to any other validation tool out there. And Box Automate helps you build cold email infra, scalable and reliable cold email infra. So you can scale your cold email campaigns, and you can let us do the heavy lifting of all the backend things which happens in the background. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Since you mentioned you help users to get more verified emails from your tool. So
Yeah.
what's like the major difference that you have in your tool versus the other tools that are there out there in the market?
Shakshmi, you want to answer that?
Yeah,
Or
sure. I'll take it. Yeah. So the major tools in the market, what they do is they basically categorize emails into three categories. One is valid, other is risky, and the third one is invalid, right? So in the second category, which is risky, which constitutes to somewhere around 30 to 40% of the total emails of anyone, who is getting a database to reach out. Okay. So let's assume a scenario. Like, let's say I run a lead gen agency and I'm looking to get SaaS founders onboarded. I'll help SaaS founders to, get more clients, right? So I'll build a lead list of SaaS founders. So while building the lead list, I'll possibly use an existing database software like Apollo, ListKit, and multiple softwares are there, right? So I'll possibly get my data through any of these data providers or directly through LinkedIn. There's a lot of tool which helps us do the same. After getting the data, we need to validate it, like validate the emails, so that we know which are the valid ones and which are the invalid ones. So like what traditionally used to happen is when I validate my lead list, I used to get usually 40 to 50% valid leads. Rest goes into the risky category, which is catch all, and rest remaining in the invalid category,
mm,
which nobody reaches out, right? Which like very
you.
deprives your lead list. Your lead list become pretty small. So what we thought is to help people validate that 25 to 30% of the catch-all emails. So that's the major USP or thing we are trying to solve, which was not there in the market. So we saw that people are losing up on leads, and by not sending emails to catch-all emails, right? So we found a way in the proprietary backend, which Darsh built himself, to validate this email in real time and in the most fastest way.
Yeah.
So speed, accuracy, and validating the catch-all emails. These three become the major points on which we get on we onboard our clients, right? So they get better lead list, more people to reach out, and those type of leads where the conversion rate is pretty high, because catch-all is a
Mm.
category everyone misses. So if nobody's reaching out, their inbox is empty technically, right? So
So
they
very
are the
few people
lonely
who reach
people.
out to them. So yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So we give them the golden list. That's the main thing.
Awesome. So makes sense. Yes. Also, can you talk a little bit more about the numbers part if you're comfortable, like in terms of revenue and growth, so far that you have had with the software or tools?
Sure. So starting with Verify Magically, it's been an up and down journey. So when we built it, we got a good traction because we run a big community. We have a great community of lead generation people, which we built last year, named Magically Genius. So
Magically
that's where the
genius.
name came from, right? Which we got registered very recently. So using that
Nice.
community, we brought in people at Verify Magically, which was one of a tool under Magically Genius. So the initial traction was pretty great because of the fame that we had in the market, but our backend broke a lot of times, right?
Yeah,
So we
because
were
of
like
the very
not to build a
right.
perfect product in the first one, but to get it into the market and just get it, like give them the solution, right?
Mm.
So which made the backend unstable a bit. So due to that instability, we like the backend broke a lot of times, and we like a lot of clients churned, right? So a lot of times these things were happening. So it has been an up and down journey. We even like turned the platform down for 2 months
Yeah,
to
yeah.
solve the whole product again. We
That's
took 3 months initially to build the product. After that, it was 2 months like down. Then recently we recreated everything in a more stable way, analyzing the mistakes in the tech part, which took care of, right? And we relaunched our product just this May, right? So it's been 2 months that we have relaunched the product. The numbers, we have like completely launched a new platform. So we migrated all our existing users from the old
yeah.
platform to a new platform, right? So the transitioning phase is currently going. Currently, Verify Magically is the like secondary focus. So the
Mm.
revenue has been more than $10,000, I can say, at the moment,
Mm.
monthly recurring, right? So we are that type of MRR, but that's completely organic, as
Mm.
we are currently still in the testing phase. Like the MVP is built, you can say. Testing is completed, honestly, because it's been 2 months. People have been using the tool. There's a lot of recurring payments and reusage. So and we have been talking to our clients regularly. So which tells us that we have finally built the MVP, and
Mm. It's a market
from
fit.
next month onwards, we'll be starting the scale part.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have found the market fit. So that's about Verify Magically. Next will be Inbox Automate, where we help people with the cold email infrastructure. And that's the major play game. And that was a major pain point that we solved for the market, because people were not very much clear with what email sending infra they should build, right? There were a lot of options available in the market. There was Google, there was Outlook, using Outlook emails to reach out, using Google emails, using custom SMTP providers, right? And there has been a lot of gurus in the market or influencers who influence people and like confuse them with all of the choices. So people, if they saw one guru, he'll say use Google. The other one says Outlook, and the third one says SMTP using private servers.
Yeah.
And private servers, people who recommended that were the founders of a company who is selling cold email infra, right?
Mm.
So they were technically selling their own product. That's why they recommended that stuff, right? So we got into the market and we helped people set up their cold email infra with Google and Outlook at scale, because we have been doing that as a lead gen agency last year, right? So we already know all the in and out of how to build the infra, what problems you may face in future, how to manage the deliverability, right? So we already had the know-how of that stuff. So using that know-how, we launched Inbox Automate, and we again got the organic traction because of Magically Genius. So it's always been organic, right? Initially 2 months organic traffic, we closed one big client, which currently whose current LTV, a single client holds a current LTV of 300K a year,
Yeah.
right? So per
So
annum, he gives us $300K, a single client, right? Which we closed in December. Similarly, we closed more clients. And instead of focusing on the inorganic reach, initially we focused a lot on the clients and helping them get the deliverability. So, the referral system worked pretty well for us. Like there was
Mhm.
mm.
not any commission that we were giving. But because the pain point,
Mm.
the problem solving, and the service was so, like delightful, honestly, to the people, that the reference thing played a lot for us, a lot for us. Approximately 30% of our revenue is completely referral based, and people referred us without any commission because of the service price point and what we offered them with a personalized solution. So we completely focused on the customer success thing and getting them results so that they can obviously help us get the traction. So currently, I can proudly say that it's a more than $1 million ARR
Yeah,
company,
yeah.
inbox sort individually, right? And we started in December. It's been 7 months, right? And within 7 months, we are able to build a stable million dollar plus ARR company, and the target is to 12x from here within this year.
Yeah.
So that's the two major tools that we have been covering.
Fantastic, fantastic. I mean, of course, the numbers part is absolutely mind-boggling, right? Since you've been able to achieve that growth in such a short amount of time. But the part where I love the most about what you said is the customer obsession part, and also just getting the product out there in the market. Since I was just recently speaking, like just 2 days back only, I was speaking to Vaibhav Nampuri, the founder of
Mm.
Smartly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said the exact same thing, right? He said,
Mm.
don't build a minimum viable product. First, build a minimum
Mm.
lovable product that people are going to
Mm.
love and just get it out there in the market. Get it to the people and then start, optimizing that. Because I've seen a lot of founders making this mistake that, just trying to perfect everything in their tool,
Mm.
in their, SaaS. Yeah, that's great. Okay. And also when you go about building these tools, for example, so where do you get the inspiration? And I asked the same question to Babu also. So where do you get the inspiration to let's say you're building this email tools,
Right.
deliverability for lead generation. Where do you basically
Yeah.
find the inspiration for that?
We ourselves used to run a lead gen agency back then. So we already knew all the pain points, and we were finding tools which can, solve this problem, but there were not that many tools out there which can really solve this problem. Let's take an example of Verify Magically. There were few catch-all validation tools out there who used to take 48 to 58 hours to validate catch-all emails, and that too by sending them mails and then getting the data back whether the emails are bounced or not. So that
Which
was
is not
very
accurate.
inefficient way. Yeah, it's very inefficient and it doesn't make sense, like sending mails to your
Mhm.
prospect and then validating it doesn't make sense that much. So we already knew the problems, and then we got into how we can solve these problems, and then the moment we were done solving that, we started sharing with other lead gen founders out there. So that's how we did. Mainly, it was never an idea. It was always a pain point which we faced at very first, and then we started working on that. So yeah.
So basically, who our consumer is, we have been in their place
Yeah.
beforehand, right? Last year, we were what our current customer is. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
already know how they are
Mm.
managing their cold email lead gen agency, where they will face issue, and what will happen. So and we solved it for us. So we thought let's solve it for others too,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's the part which always give us motivation because we want to help our other cold email, like cousins or friends out there in the market.
Yeah.
Yes.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Acha, how many people are working in your team right now?
So currently we are a 10 plus member team,
Mm.
where most of the team currently are interns. We have very limited full-time employees, right? As it's a startup, and people love our, like our culture is probably one of a major thing because people talk about work-life balance, but with these interns and strong team, where these people are still in college, they are like hustling like hell with us, working late night at 3 or 4 a.m., going to college, coming back, and then again working with us. We have 2 to 3 full-time employees, but these intern part, working along with college, having that hustling feeling inside them, have helped us a lot while building the
Yeah.
Inbox Automate journey. So yeah, so 10 plus team members at the moment.
Got it, got it. And also, I ask everybody on my podcast, like, how do you go about the team management part, right? Or hiring, firing, or is it just that you have got very good people on your team? Since you mentioned that all these interns that you have had, They're already very hungry.
Yeah. So I guess initially it's about looking for the hunger. If you have the hunger, so you can build the best
Mm.
employer. It's not about hiring the best team member. It's about building the best team member, right?
So
So
true. Yeah.
for me, it's like, getting someone who's ready to give all in, right? Who's ready to go to the journey, right? And it's more of a, like contractual thing, right? We fulfill their needs and they fulfill our needs, right? And we fulfill the company needs for us, right? So I'm pretty transparent with the team members, right? So that's what I'm looking for, right? And just tell me what you are looking for. Always able to, help you fulfill your
Mm.
career journey, and if you are fulfilling that part of the company, right? So that's what I'm looking for. I'm pretty transparent the first part. And that's what I guess it's pretty great in the market, like not to be, like
Mm.
formal and try to hide things and make a loop over that. Being pretty
Mm.
transparent and straight sometimes helps a lot while managing the
Yeah.
team, and improvising them and retaining them for the longer term, because retention rate with the team members is a great metric than retention rate for a
Mm.
client, right? If I'm able to retain
That's
my
yeah.
team members, that will help me much more ROI than retaining one client or two clients. So yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like we match team members' expectations and they match our expectations. That's the clear goal. So yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. A personal question from my end is because I know by Saksham bhai, you are from Jalandhar, right? So since I'm also from Patala, right? So what I've seen is in
Yeah.
this, which I've discussed with you on chat as well. Like I have not seen a lot of people in this space, in this SaaS space, in a lot of like technical space when it comes to from Punjab area, right?
True.
So how did you get started in this space? Or is it like because environment is very very important, right? When you're getting started into this, right? People from here, Punjab side, they don't really understand that. I'm not sure because I know Darsh is from Himachal, right? So I'm not sure what's the kind of scenario in Himachal.
So
Mm.
I
It's
think the major game changer was somewhere the COVID for me, right? Initially, like the COVID, where we were restricted to our homes, and getting out talking to someone became like, something I really wanted to do, which led me to joining multiple communities,
mm.
networking with people over LinkedIn, right? So networking with
Okay.
people over LinkedIn community brought me more exposure to what's going out there in the market, right? I was talking to all type of people, not even people of my age, but trying to get into groups where people who are exist who are already founders
Mm.
or entrepreneurs, trying to talk to them a lot, which gave me a sense, yeah, at the end of the day, even if I'm doing a job, I started as a job. I started doing a lot of internships during my college period, right? So my end goal was, like 4 to 5 years down the line, I'll possibly do job, get some money in, and I'll work on a business idea. That was the main game plan for me. But I come from a business family. My father runs a business. My, Tayaji runs his own business. So, business was somewhat I always wanted to do at the end of the day. So, starting with the internships, I got exposure working with one of the Unacademy's product also. So, I have worked under Unacademy. Then I worked in a fintech platform. Startups was something which was encouraging me every day. Because I felt that going straight into corporate will slow down my progress. And anyways, corporate won't hire me full time within the college time period. It's pretty difficult, to get into full-time job during the college, right? So that's why I, targeted multiple startups. I applied 300, 500 internship opportunities, right? So it was, like bulk blasting initially. But after that, I understood choosing the right startup is also what matters. So I,
Mm.
started pinpointing what pain point are they solving? Is, does that pain point interest me? So, there was one company which was working in export import, right? And I felt export industry is something which is very booming, honestly, right? So that's why I very targetedly, applied for there, and I was, selected in the first go. Then come a fintech platform which was solving for cross-border payments. So I researched initially, what's going in the market. Is the solution is something which can, penetrate the market? Only then I used to join that company, right? So I started pinpointing the things, and money became a secondary goal initially because it was more about, getting in loop with these people, seeing how they are building the processes and everything, right? So that's what my corporate journey has been like, right? So during my fintech platform internship at Mulya was the platform name. I met Dash, who is the CTO, right? So in a community, I saw, this 16, 17-year-old young man working in cold email, doing lead gen, have already ran an agency, sold an agency. I've talked to a lot of VCs. So I thought, I'm pretty much behind, right? So that's where Darsh told me the game of cold email. So that was something which, ignited the major game in me. So I thought this cold email looks pretty interesting to me. So again, what people say is like pick a niche. So Darsh brought me the niche of cold email. I implemented that in Mulya. It got great results, right? And seeing that results, I thought, this is something which is a skill that I can, like keep on improving and make a business out of it. So during my working at Mulya, Darsh offered me to join him and let's start our own lead gen agency. So Darsh taught me. Darsh has already done that, right? He saw that I'm already doing that, right? And I was very curious. I kept on talking with him a lot of AI tools, SaaS tools,
Mhm.
about
Right.
multiple
Yeah.
software, right? And start something because anyways I'm gonna start, right? So let's start early because this age is the best age to take risk. 20 to 25 is, so much because you're not nobody's dependent on you. You can take all the risk in life during the 20 to 25. After that, you get
Yeah.
married, responsibilities
Mhm.
on your head, right? So taking multiple risk at this time, felt like a very clear cut way through for me. So I took the risk, started working with us. We closed a lot of clients in lead gen agency, helped them grow, thought about what, pain points that we are facing, which other lead gen agency would also be facing, and started building multiple software tools.
Yeah.
So that's been the journey.
Fantastic. Fantastic. By the way, what's your age, guys?
My is 21.
I
Dash
just turned 18 this month.
just
So
turned adult
Awesome.
last this month.
Fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so that's why now it's your time to tell your story. How did you basically got started?
Um, at 16, I used to run a content agency with one of our co-founder, Nikhil. Back then, we have worked with Vedantu and many other companies at us point paper, right? And then I got bored into content agency. Shifted to a few different niches. Um, got bored there as well. And my end goal was always SaaS. Like I always used to say, Nikhil, that I only want to build SaaSes and just want to build the products rather than scaling it and then managing it. So yeah, like that's why I was always looking to find people who can manage the products and scale the products together. So yeah, and one day I launched one micro SaaS which helps extracting leads from Apollo, and it went very pretty well. Like we scaled it to I guess 30K MRR within few months, and that's where we started building our community, and that's where we started all the stuff like building other products as well, launching few different services and products, and that's all. Um, that's all. Like, there's nothing much which I can share around the journey because Shiksham has covered most of the part. So, yeah, and majority of the things which came in the line was when Shiksham joined it. Before that, I was just gradually doing everything together and was finding the right people together so we can just scale it up. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, about fulfilling each other's negatives and positives, right? So Darsh is a
Right.
positive at covering everything at tech,
True.
while I'm the person who is good at managing a
Mm.
team, getting the things done, and so that's what I did. And Darsh did his work. So we both
I always used to build just products. That's it. Like products which are genuinely actually useful for users, and which
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Yes.
were you saying?
I was saying back then we already used to run an agency, right? So we already knew the problems. I already knew what market actually needs, and we were already working on that. So yeah, that's the thing.
ठीक है, ठीक है. Okay, now coming back to you know, so what's your scene when it comes to raising funds and how are you falling into that scenario right now?
We do have few offers from VCs, and VCs has shown some interest recently, but I don't think so. Honestly, I feel like inbox automate is something which we can it's better to bootstrap rather than raise funds for that. Maybe not denying that, never say no. So maybe in future, if we feel like that something which we are working on needs actual VC fund and their expertise, then yeah, always open for that. But currently, we are not that much interested into raising funds. So yeah.
Got it, got it.
It's more about figuring out on our own,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out on our own. And possibly our target is to build high margin products, right?
Right.
Which have lost their presence in the market.
Hmm.
So there, people who are building high margin products does not are not seeing, people don't know. There are a lot of people who are making high margin products from India, but they are not getting the visibility. While people
Hmm.
who are raising funds and doing a lot of losses are the one getting printed in multiple ads, right? So honestly, our thing is to build completely profitable business from day one, right? And it is always possible to build a profitable business,
Hmm.
because from day one, if you are profitable, I think you have got things figured out for you, which people figure out at a lot bigger scale, where it's
Hmm.
very risky to play with data for
Right.
us. Like, considering what our industry looks like. There are multiple industry, every industry works in it, in their own way. But in our industry, SaaS, I think profits are pretty high,
Pretty,
margins are pretty high.
yeah.
Because of the major thing in SaaS is like the LTV. The lifetime
Hmm.
value of each of your clients in all the SaaS products is pretty longer, right? If you onboard a client, he has a good experience, there's very least chance he'll possibly shift to any other platform. So he's gonna, like be with you for 2 to 5 years, gonna pay for you for 2 for 5 years, and everything is done on the software end. You do not, you don't need not do much of the stuff. So not much cost involved afterwards once you have acquired the customer. So yeah, so that's why we from day one being profitable with all our
And
products.
because of the high margins, we are like able to make a lot of mistakes. So yeah, that's the thing. We learn on the way rather than doing everything together at a single time. And when we onboard VCs, there's a constant pressure that you have to do certain things in certain speed
In certain way.
and in a certain way as well. So
Yeah.
that's why it's more, we want to be like more like a casual and very cool startup rather than forcing our employees and scaling and focusing on only on growth rather than providing genuine value. So yeah.
Makes sense. अच्छा. And ठीक है. So like what are the other channels that you're using for selling part other than you mentioned like most of them you're getting through the referrals only, right? Other than the referrals part, what are some other channels you're using?
Yes, completely. So the initial organic traction community we got, right? We onboarded few clients. We, like delivered them great value. They got us the referrals, second channel referrals. Then third became cold email, as we are pretty good at cold email. We ran an agency, so we can easily do lead generation for our own using the cold email channel. So the cold email channel is a very underrated channel, right? Recently, this year, it has got the hype and a lot of people are getting into the market, right? So cold email became one of that channel. Then recently we have started with ads. We are working on it. We are figuring it out. Not something which we have already done much in the past, but yeah, ads is something we are regularly working on. We are also working on the SEO part with blogs, and last of all, getting into the content game, because if we are able to build a brand of ourselves, because people know us as cold email experts, right? We know a lot of top people who are there in the market who give a lot of suggestions, who consult people, right? So building a brand of ourselves using LinkedIn content, for me, and Darsh moreover, he has tried his hand over the Reels part, and he has got a great traction. So, that content game is gonna be a major play, right? So for me going forward, I think for anyone who is starting, right, content and community will always pay you good enough ROI. Then content, community, and cold email. The ROI are pretty great on these acquisition channels for us also, and for any other founder out there who is doing a SaaS. These channels will be great.
Got it. Got it. Okay, okay. And can you also share the metrics when it comes to like the cold email part? Since you guys like have the tools and all the arsenal with you, so of course the numbers are going to be much better.
Right. So the number have been pretty variable in the market, right? So there are multiple type of reach out. One is where you're covering a lot of the market. Other is trigger based, where you have set some triggers. You reach out to niche 100 people using very personalized way on their recent post, right? So the metric differs
Yeah.
in both the channels, right? We mostly cover where we cover the part where we try to cover the maximum audience in a more faster speed than niching down on very limited ones, right? So in that, an average of anything around 5% reply rate is a pretty good rate, right? Open rate is something which you should not track. It's not suggested you track open rate because it harms the deliverability. So, concluding with that, on every 100 people you send an email, if you're getting around 5 to 8 replies, it's a pretty decent number, right? And if it's niche, you will obviously get around
More
30 to
replies.
50% of positive reply rate. If you are able to
Yeah.
hit these metrics, the ROI is going to be pretty great. But there are people who are doing much, much better than this. And
Yeah.
we are also, great to see those people as they are optimizing this industry, right? So we learn from those, we keep on learning. There's always something to learn about cold email because there are a lot of variables, a lot of technical stuff, a lot of policies of Google and Outlook that keep on coming, which, scares us, but benefits us also sometimes because,
Mm.
if they are bringing a change, they are giving us something to figure out, basically. And that's
Mm.
what we are best at. So if any policy change happen in Google or Outlook, we try to figure that out and bring the solution to the market and let the cold emailers back in the game. So, like 5 to 7% of reply rate, 50% around positive, 30 to 50% positive reply rate will be, the optimal metrics, like, the minimum end goal if
Mm.
somebody who is doing cold email wants to achieve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Uh, and where's your like most of your users coming from? Major chunk of your audience from US only?
Yeah.
Yes.
Majority are from US only.
So US
Okay.
being around 75 to 80% of our revenue
Mm.
owner, right? After that, we have clients with UK, Europe,
Mm.
then India and others. So India is also recently started spending a lot on the cold email part.
Yeah.
People being the very creative and exploring nature in India. So people are trying to explore this channel, and we are also trying to push these people who are trying to enter this cold email game. So there are people who have very misconceptions or who have not started much in the cold email space. So we help them and try to help them build a system. So India is constantly increasing. So we started with very small numbers with India. Like it was not more than 1K dollars, but recently we have 10x the revenue from India. So we are
Gotcha.
seeing a pretty fast speed in India in terms of the cold email thing.
That was a surprising growth. Like we didn't expect it like in this way. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Since you mentioned that, so how do you feel the growth is in India in terms of cold email? Since you mentioned about that misconception part, when it comes to like people don't usually really believe in like cold email and you know outbound stuff. So how do you feel?
Darsh,
What's
you
the
wanna
change
take that?
that's happening?
You can answer that. Yeah.
Okay. So what has happened is people have been taught with email marketing as cold email.
Yeah.
Right? So this in this one statement, I have clarified every other doubt. So
Hmm.
email marketing is something which you use MailChimp or other platform to send email to your subscriber list. You already have subscribers to your platform who are subscribed to your newsletter. So those are the email marketing tools like MailChimp and MailerLite, these type of tools which help you resend emails to your existing subscriber list, right? So that is a different thing. People consider that as cold email, which is
Yeah.
a completely wrong thing. So we talked to a company back then who were sending 1 lakh emails. No, not really. They were sending
Um,
6 lakh emails in a
yeah.
month
Yeah.
and getting one lead closed. In 6 lakh email,
Yeah.
one lead closed.
That was their benchmark, that getting
Yeah,
one lead from every six, and it's
exactly.
very terrifying, but yeah. Uh,
So I was pretty curious. So what they were doing is they were just buying custom servers and spamming a lot. Like per email
uh,
account, they were sending around 300 to 400 emails using custom SMTP. So maximum
uh,
of them, like I can say 99% of them were sending in spam, were landing in spam folder, and the remaining were getting blocked. So,
mm,
like the receiving servers block you,
yeah.
right? But I'll not get much in the technical stuff. I'll just clarify the overall picture. Cold email is something where you build your infrastructure with multiple domains, create
Mhm.
multiple email IDs, and find out solution to bypass the spam filter. You know,
Right.
cold email is not just about sending an email. It's about making it land in primary inbox, right? Where people who are doing email marketing get, like 10-20% open rate. In cold email, you can hit an open rate of 80%,
Mm,
right? So
right.
easily 4x to 5x of open volume you can achieve. And the 20% metric that people are getting using the email marketing tools, that's also fake.
Right.
Because I'll give you a technical thing which not a lot of people know. iOS devices, if you're sending on iOS devices, it will give a fake open, right?
Right.
Even if the email is not opened, iOS device will show that the email is opened, right? So any day, just ask your teammate to send you an email and keep tracking of email on. Even if you have not opened the email, it will show you
It
that
will
email
show
has
that.
been opened. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't know that. So out of 20%, 10-15% anyways is going to be iOS devices. So that is also
Mm,
fake open rate. So the final open rate that people were getting was 5 to 10%. So that's the reason they are not getting the ROI. And if you're not getting the ROI, there will be misconception that this does not work,
yeah.
right? Because at the end of the day, any channel that I start to work with needs to have an ROI, right? So they were not doing it the right way. So now we have started talking to people. We have seen influencers coming up from India who are telling people what is the right way to do it. The right way is to do it is buying 10 different domains which are similar to your main name, right? So let's say I'm promoting verifymagically.com, right? So I'll buy domains tryverifymagically.com, growverifymagically.com, magically verifymagically.co.com with multiple TLDs. I'll buy multiple domains,
Lookalike domains. Yeah.
lookalike domains, right? Create 2 to 3 emails per domain, right? And build an infrastructure, warm it up, make. So as you said, you have already talked to Vaibhav from Smart Lead, right?
Yeah.
So they do a warm up where, fake AI generate, like not fake, AI
Yeah.
generated our conversations are happening between the email IDs with multiple servers, right? It's all about building a brand for each email ID. For email
Mm,
ID, email servers, like, building your authenticity that, hey, Google, I am a very authentic person. I've been sending regular emails. I've been into regular conversations. Give me
mm,
that quality of deliverability to
mm,
land in the primary inbox. So with the warm up and these type of infrastructure techniques, you can easily bypass the Google spam folder, Google or Outlook spam filters,
mm.
and easily land in the primary inbox and get these ROI, which I said. So if you get this ROI, then this becomes a booming channel for client acquisition for most of the clients.
Right.
So that's what the misconception is, and we are clearing up. And it's getting cleared up very fast in the Indian market because of the influencer, right? So we know a lot of influencers from India who are clearing up the process of cold email. So, they are helping us a lot also.
Mm.
So that's the way we are solving the misconception in India and seeing the boom in people adopting cold email as a client acquisition
Client
strategy.
acquisition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so you covered about the deliverability part. Also, Darshan, Saksham, I want to not say tips, but what are some of the strategies and structure you use in your cold emails? Like should it be in terms of like subject line for our users who are just getting into the like cold email, space.
Mhm.
So the whole structure, how do you use that, like the subject lines, the whole body, should it be more personalized, should it be more relevant? Because people are nowadays saying that personalization is less relevant, you should focus more on relevancy rather than personalization. So what are your strategies in that?
Adarsh?
Mainly make sure you're first of all, like from the lead source where you're extracting leads from or getting the lead list, right? Make sure those leads are genuinely what your prospects looks like. A lot of people focuses on the lead size rather than the lead quality, right?
Yeah.
They will just go and add generic filters in Apollo and then export the lead list, and they say that open rates are not coming up, emails are not getting sent properly and stuff like that. The second one is performing a MX lookup. So let's say you have a lead list of 1,000 prospects, right?
Okay.
So like let's say 200, 300 are using G Suite accounts to well, as their inbox, and rest of them are Outlook. So set up your infra accordingly. Let's say majority of your prospects are using Outlook, so you can set up an Outlook infra rather than G Suite, because you will get Outlook to Outlook delivery more compared to G Suite to Outlook. So that's what I recommend most of the part. Mainly writing about templates and words which you should not use. Shaksham has a more better idea because he is doing this regularly compared to me. So yeah, Shaksham can answer that.
So there are two types of relevancy, right? One is the relevancy of the copy, and second is the relevancy of the lead list, as Darsh covered, right? So if you are not able to define your ICP correctly, forget that anything else will work, right? Because you're
Yeah.
reaching out to someone who does not have the requirement for your product, or does not have the pain point, right? So relevancy in terms of lead list is very important, and having a valid lead list is very important. So that's why we built the Verify Magically tool, right? Then relevancy in terms of the email copy is more important than personalization. Honestly, is my view. But there will be people who are working in personalization way may get better results. But for us, I'll tell you, for us, relevancy has been more of
More
a
of
right thing to
mm,
do, and
yeah,
something which has given us more ROI,
right.
right? So keeping the relevancy of the email, keeping it short. Maximum of our email copies, if I talk about, are not more than 3 lines or 4 lines. Maximum is 4 lines. We don't write email copies which are lengthier than 4 lines, because in terms of our ICP, it's like co-founders, C-level suits, or directors manager who already have the least time span to look at our email. So within 3 lines, I need to tell him that, sir, this is your pain point. You are suffering this, and I have a solution to get it solved for you, and I've done it for XYZ people, right? So I need to get this message clear to him within 3 lines to build
Mm,
his curiosity to, react to my email, get a reply from him, and get him on a call. After the call, it's pretty easy for me. After the
mm,
call, getting him closed, it's a much easier process than, trying to get him look at the email,
mm.
right? So once he replies, it's pretty easier thing for me. So relevancy in terms of email, subject lines, keep it short. Don't use common words like, growth or
Money, dollar
like,
emojis, and
money.
yeah,
I'll help you get 10 clients, because you'll
yeah.
straight away tell him that you are coming to sell
Mm,
something, right?
mm,
What I've learned in my journey, as I've been a sales guy, right? Since day one, since my internships and since my co-founder position in Magically Genius, consulting and helping them out with their problems will always give you the best results, even if it means not selling your product, because he'll be the one who will be the word of mouth for someone where you are a fit, right?
right.
So it will come back to you. Just give him the right consultation. That's what I have always given to people, and it will always come back to you in some form or the other. So consulting more than selling will always help, because at the end of the day, if you consult him correctly, he wins, you win,
Yeah.
right? You need to tell him that I'm trying to make you win. I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to sell you something. I'm trying to make you the winner. Because if
Yeah.
he feels that he's the winner, you have already won without letting him know, right? So that's what sales mindset or technique I have built up since my experience talking to a lot of founders in India, outside India.
That's it.
So
That's it.
yes.
Yeah. Also, I would appreciate if you can, share an example, or let's do one thing. You can share me later on. I'll just put that link over in the description. of the example of a cold email, or so people can have a better understanding of how the structure follows,
Right,
right?
right.
Sure, 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Also, by ठीक है. So my last question to both of you guys would be any any kind of advice or suggestion you would give to, since a lot of our audiences, like aspiring SaaS owners, right? Or they are currently running their agency who want to get into SaaS. So what is your one piece of advice, or maybe multiple pieces of advice, that you would like to give them uh, in getting started and getting their product out there in the market, getting it validated, and just getting pulling the trigger. Yeah.
I would say before building product, build relationships with people who are willing to buy that product, right? So if you have already few relations, and if you already have few prospects in your mind with whom you have talked, you will get a better idea what exactly you have to build, rather than building the product first and then finding the market fit and then finding clients and prospects. That's a different thing, right? So, and the second one is never hire a development agency if you are just starting out. It's a
You made a
worst
mistake.
mistake. It's a very big mistake. If you're just starting out, development agency is not a good fit for you. Of course, if you have a previous experience on how actually softwares are built and a lot of other stuff around that, then development agency is better. But if you have zero idea how we can build a SaaS, how a user experience should be improved and stuff, then development agency is very bad option to go with. And that's it. And the third one is, don't think much about the pricing. I've seen a lot of people who price their products so cheap at very first go because they are not that confident. And when they find that, oh, this is genuinely very cheap compared to other tools out there, right? Then it becomes hard to increase the price. So I would say make your, let's say if you are thinking of $10 subscription, go with $30. You can decrease the price always, but you can't increase it later on. So that's the suggestion which I have. So yeah.
Good one. Saksham bhai.
Yeah. So suggestion will be just like us, as we just went into the market with Verify magically. So don't try to build the perfect product. Build a product which which gives the client a value, right?
Right.
So start focusing on the value. If you are providing, money will come automatically, right? Price, honestly, for me, as per my opinion, price is never the issue. It's always about value. If you're able to
Yeah.
provide the value, you'll get the price you want to have, right? So always focus on the value, right? Somewhere or the other, just try to provide that extra value to your client, and he'll always pay you. People are pretty great in the market, right? So yeah, these two are the main things. And towards the sales part, that's where major of my time goes. Again, I've already told in the previous part, try to consult people. That will be the best thing. No, don't try to sound salesy and being a salesman in the first call or
Yeah.
in
And the first
anywhere,
email. Yeah.
right? People are very like, we have development agencies build their SaaS tool, software product, right? Uh, could you get on a call and we can help you build a software product, right? They just keep on
Mhm.
pitching about themselves,
Right.
right? That's what people have been doing in the cold email thing, right? And try to work on more on the organic channels initially, and your 100 clients will bring you the next 1,000 clients.
Right.
Always remember, right?
Very true.
From
Yeah.
100 to 1,000, you'll have more organic traffic than trying to build that 100 to 1,000 inorganic. If you go on building that inorganic, you'll be pretty slow. It will take a lot of time. But from 100 to 1,000, if you deliver the right value and keep your first 100 customers close, they'll be your marketers, and they'll be the one who will give you the next 1,000 customers, right? So that's what, as per our current journey, it's been like. Above 1,000 customers is something that we'll figure out later, and possibly get another chance to talk to you and cover that up.
Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. So all right, guys, that's it. Right. I really appreciate you guys, getting on this podcast, and it's a lot of great insights that you shared. And we covered a lot of like variety range of topics, I would say. It wasn't very, very specific, but yeah, because we have a lot of our audience who are just into the initial stages. So it's also very important for us to, keep it very, very
Generic
like
and make it
Yeah.
available for everyone. Yeah.
So it's easier for them to, just lower their, like, whatever you say, the activation energy in physics terms, and just get started, right? So yeah, again, we're very, very thankful to you guys for being on this podcast episode, right? And yeah, guys, we look forward to seeing you again. Okay, and bring more great guests on this episode. Yeah, stay tuned.
Sure.